Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy T for 365 Horror, and this is a horror movie discovery channel. I am just here to put as many horror movies on your watch list as possible. And today we're going to be previewing 8 brand new releases and getting into my trailer reactions. So let's get into it right now. Now we are going to get into the video, but before we do, I've got to remind you guys to please like and subscribe if you like this content. Also, this video is best watched with the movie tracker. I like to use Letterboxd. It's just the easiest way to keep track of the movies that you've seen and want to see. I also want to touch on the availability of these titles, as I have personally went to each one of the services and verified that these movies are available. And if you are having trouble seeing them, there is probably one of 2 reasons. One, you might be region locked. And the other reason is that if you are using any of the alternative media sites or any of the free stuff, a lot of these movies just came out yesterday, so they really won't show up on those sites for a couple days. Also, I want to make a note that going forward, I will be front loading these videos to make sure that all of the kind of free movies or the service movies are at the beginning. So once we really reach the kind of pay to play stage, just know that they're all for rent from there. And lastly, this video is just a preview, and these are just my trailer reactions. As always, I've included chapters and timestamps in the description, so if you don't like any of the trailer reactions or any of the movies I've picked, you're always free to skip to the next one. And if you did want some reviews and recommendations, then I suggest you watch my new movie review series, my You Should Watch series, or any of my Best of Lately series. This here is just a little something for the diehards like me that are always looking for something new to watch. And with that, let's get right to it. And also, I know that I've made one more promise, so I wanted you guys to see exactly what's been kicking our butts. So this is Zola. Yeah, so this is the puppy. And yeah, this shot isn't working as well as I had thought it would, but at least you guys got a good little vision of exactly... Yeah, she's a great dog. Anyways, let's get back to the video. I just know that I promised that I would show you guys the puppy, so I just wanted to make sure. But yeah, no, that was Zola, and let's get right back to the video. I know we don't like long intros, but I did promise I would show the puppy, so I just wanted to make sure to do that. Okay, so that hubbub aside, we're going to get into some streaming news, and Final Destination Bloodlines is now on HBO Max, so be sure to check that movie out. It was really good. I liked it. I liked this kind of iteration into the series. I thought it had some good kills, as always, some good tension building up to the kills. Definitely a worthwhile movie to watch, even without the HBO Max service, but it being on HBO Max is perfect. So the first thing I wanted to let you guys know is that this is going to be a little bit of an expensive week because we just don't have very many free movies on services or Tubi. So just so you guys know, that HBO Max Final Destination drop was pretty much your little free pick of the week. So unless you have some alternative links, it's going to be all pay to play from here. So the first movie we're going to take a look at this week is a straight horror named Stalker. And this movie is available on Prime Video. An influencer couple buys an old home to remodel for their DIY social media channel. But when the husband's sleepwalking turns violent, they're forced to investigate his psychological past and the home's dark history. It is directed by Justin Shilton and Rob Zazzali. Okay, after checking out the trailer for Stalker, this one looks like a decent to good found footage flick. For starters, I really liked the creepy vibe that it had, and it had some solid scary moments, and it was kind of giving me a little bit of a kind of Paranormal Activity flashback vibe. I'm also really a fan of these kind of sleepwalking or sleep terror flicks, because I just find that when executed properly, it's like sleep itself becomes the villain. And honestly, if you were a kid like me that kind of had a problem with like nightmares when I was young, watching a movie like this where they really add like this deep sleep scare element could be downright terrifying. Now, one of the problems I do have with found footages at times is that I could feel like they're kind of slow and mundane, but this one really does a good job of keeping it moving with a lot of kind of supernatural and just weird occurrences. So overall, as a fan of found footage, I think that Stalker actually looks pretty solid, and I think this one's going to get a regular spot on my watch list.
Look at the home, babe. We're at the new house.
We have lemons.
We bought it sight unseen.
I never felt like this We have no idea what we're getting ourselves into. My buddy Ryan, electrician. We're gonna have to rip these up. If that doesn't fix it, we gotta... Well, that was weird.
Next movie we're going to take a look at is a horror sci-fi thriller named The A-Frame. And this movie is available on Google Play, Apple TV, and Prime Video. A quantum physicist develops a machine that creates a tunnel to a subatomic universe. In his quest to prove the machine's efficacy, he inadvertently discovers a radical treatment for cancer. It is directed by Calvin Lee Reeder. Okay, so after watching the trailer for A-Frame, this one looks like a solid sci-fi thriller. And although the film doesn't pack too much in the way of creeps and scares, I think that we're gonna actually get a solid flick for the gorehounds here. As even in some of the body horror shots and when the machine does its thing to people, I feel like we're going to get a heavy dose of gore. Now the premise itself really grabbed me because I do like these kind of sci-fi contraption movies, especially ones like The Fly where they enter this kind of experimental machine and just get completely mutilated or something. So I am interested to see exactly how brutal these transformations get. Now the acting did feel stiff in a couple parts, but it wasn't really anything too bad and it didn't really take me out of it. Now overall, the A-Frame looks pretty good and it looks like it's really going to lean into that kind of nasty sci-fi body horror. And so for that alone, being that I think this is going to be a really kind of gore heavy movie, I think that's going to earn it a little bit of a higher spot on my watch list.
I'm Sam. I'm a scientist. I think I can help you.
Are you gonna hurt me?
See all these machines? They're all here to help you.
I don't have cancer anymore.
How's that even possible?
Next movie we're going to take a look at is a drama horror named Animale, and this movie is available on Prime Video. Najima trains hard to win the local bullfighting competition. When she's mauled after a celebration, she starts to notice disturbing changes. News of a rogue bull on the loose terrifies the community, killing young men. It is directed by Ep.67. Okay, after watching the trailer for Animale, this one's shaping up to be a decent kind of body/animal horror. Now, although I think this is going to be another film that isn't going to offer us a ton in the way of creeps and scares, I do think that we're going to get a really good heavy dose of tension, especially when you have characters facing off against such a fierce animal like a bull. Now, like with most animal films, I am expecting a heavy dose of gore, and there were a couple parts in the trailer where they really kind of showed you the main character having some pretty gnarly wounds, so I think we have a good chance of some good stuff there. And I really like the angle of bullfighting too, because I think it's just a nice, refreshing switch up from the kind of killer wolf or some sort of big cat. And the hint at some sort of bull transformation, I don't know, that seems kind of interesting. And I definitely think it does a good job of adding just a cool little kind of twist. Now, I do want to give one usual heads up though, that this is a French film and it does look like it is fully subtitled. So just a little bit of a buyer's beware, because these are all for rent for people who aren't really into reading while they're watching. But honestly, I think Animale looks interesting and pretty solid overall, so I think this one's going to get a regular spot on my watch list.
J'ai peur de me planter.
Tout le monde a eu peur de se planter à sa première. Tu te prépares pour ça, ça va le faire. On enchaîne, on enchaîne, on enchaîne.
Allez, ta première course.
Oh putain, Nejma, c'est quoi ça? Je te rappelle pas comment tu t'es fait ça.
Next movie we're going to take a look at is a horror thriller named Birthright, and this movie is available on Prime Video.
You're gonna have a baby.
A pregnant woman inherits a house from her aunt and moves there with her girlfriend. Their unborn child becomes threatened by an old karmic debt linked to the town's dark past. It is directed by Ross Partridge. So after watching the trailer for Birthright, this one looks like a decent folk/pregnancy horror. Now, it does seem to have some solid tension and maybe even a few lasting creeps, but I really didn't get a sense of like solid adrenaline pumping scares from this one. Now, that being said, I did think that the production looks good and the performances felt strong. Story-wise though, unfortunately, this one just didn't have anything that really hooked me. I just didn't feel like there were a lot of instances in the trailer that really left me curious and wanting to see more. Now, that's not to say I necessarily think the movie is bad, because we might get something more of kind of a witchy, slow burn here that maybe does pay off well in the end. Now, Birthright looks okay overall, and I think that fans of kind of this more occult horror really will get a little bit more mileage out of this. But just for me and the way that it didn't really grab me like I wanted to, I think this one's going to get a little bit of a lower spot on my watch list.
This town needs some new life.
You know what happened here, right? All these kids went missing.
What even happened with my mom?
She didn't want you growing up around here.
There was a coven of witches.
They came for all our children. I don't know what it wants with you, but it can't be good.
Next movie we're going to take a look at is a straight horror named Shaman, and this movie is available on Prime Video.
Take off your mask, Father.
A missionary converting an indigenous community in a remote Ecuadorian volcano must come to terms with her own faith when her son is possessed by dark forces. It is directed by Antonio Negrete. So after checking out the trailer for Shaman, this one looks like a decent kind of folk/possession horror. One thing I did enjoy and I felt like I felt off the trailer was just a little bit more of that scare factor. And some of the stuff they showed us, especially involving the boy character, it really ranged from like grotesque to disturbing. So I can't lie, that definitely caught my attention. I also like the possession angle that they took in the film, because even though it's done like a ton of times, I really felt like it actually worked a little bit here. And I'm not 100% sure if the shaman is there to help or hinder, but again, as opposed to just like a priest, I know we've seen a couple of witch doctors, but that did just give it a little bit of freshness that did kind of pique my interest. Now, even though I know this is not something exactly new because we felt possession films really dip into different faiths before, honestly, I didn't mind it. Now, this is just my opinion, but I do think that Shaman looks a little bit more intriguing than Birthright, especially with the way they're handling the boy. I just feel like it's a little bit more kind of bombastic with the horror and kind of in your face. But with that, because you see like the way the boy grows like weird black veins and stuff, I do think that the film has a little bit of a danger to running into like a cheesy territory. So hopefully they handle the boy and exactly what happens to him right, just so we don't kind of fall into that realm. Still, with this film, I did feel like I had a few more kind of, okay, I'm into this kind of moments. So I think Shaman is going to get a regular spot on my watch list.
Elliot.
Where's Elliot? Father, Ellie seems different. He's not himself. The shaman. I think they did something to him.
You okay?
Are you, Father?
Next movie we're going to take a look at is a horror sci-fi thriller named Sight, and this movie is available on Prime Video. After a terrifying encounter at an abandoned government test site, a small-town family man begins seeing haunting visions of the past that threatens to destroy his present. It is directed by Jason Eric Perlman. Okay, so after watching the trailer for Sight, this one looks like a decent and pretty cerebral kind of sci-fi horror. And although I didn't feel like the trailer gave off a ton of creeps and scares, I really did like the kind of mind-fucky vibe it's going for. And even though it might not be loaded or packed with these straight-up horror moments, I did get some weird, unsettling vibes for sure. Also, as a little bit of a side note, I did spot Theo Rossi in the cast, And I haven't really seen him since Sons of Anarchy, so it's really going to be interesting to see exactly what he kind of brings to this one. And mix that with the fact that I've always really liked these kind of sci-fi setups where they find like mysterious tech, and then it starts doing like weird and strange things while it's like messing up people. Now, Sight doesn't look too bad at all, and when you kind of mix that trippy sci-fi horror vibe with the Theo Rossi casting that I'm kind of interested in, I think this one's going to earn a regular spot on my watch list.
Climb over and get started. What if it's electric? It's government, not prison. This place is juiced. It's like its own power grid.
It's like they just up and left right in the middle of a work day. Something messed up must have happened here.
Buyers don't need to know that.
Who is that?
Well, that's it for the new movies. So of course, because I've been away for weeks, we are going to play some catch up. So yes, these movies are a little bit older, but I did want to keep fans of this series caught up. So the first catch up movie we're going to look at is a straight horror named Threads of Blue. And this movie is available on Prime Video. En wakes up from a nightmare where her family dies in a car accident, just days before their real-life trip to a mountain resort. Despite her warnings, her father refuses to cancel the trip, leaving En disturbed by the strange coincidence. When their neighbor reveals that the accident has already occurred, En is left questioning the reality of her family and the mysterious elderly woman nearby. It is directed by Kenichi Sono. Okay, so after watching the trailer for Threads of Blue, this one looks like an okay kind of supernatural vision horror. Now, the trailer itself is pretty fragmented, but I did catch a couple of glimpses of some good kind of disturbing, unsettling imagery, and that definitely stood out. But what really kept me interested in this film was more the premise. Because yes, we have kind of the, premonition vision angle, but not one that they then found out has already happened, and I feel like that gives us like a good layer of mystery. And hopefully it's one of those stories where maybe like they're already dead or something that just gives us some good revelations as it kind of divulges this movie to us bit by bit. Just wanted to give the customary heads up that this is a subtitled film, so if that's not your thing, now you know. That being said, Threads of Blue did a good job of kind of drawing me in with this kind of eerie, mysterious setup. And for those reasons, I think this one's going to get a regular spot on my watch list.
明日からの週末雨になってるよ。
明日なかった。旅行だよ。
忘れてた。
山道で事故る夢。
どこまで行くんですか？
行ってきます。
気をつけて行ってらっしゃい。
All right, guys, last movie we're going to take a look at this week is a straight horror named The Forest Through the Trees. And this movie is available on Prime Video.
Love's sacrifice.
God! No.
Chloe and her stepdad, Ken, are dealing with the disappearance of Kathy, Chloe's mother and Ken's wife. After a painful year, with the help of Chloe's friend Ava, they investigate a clue that leads them to a terrifying demon cult. It is directed by Jason Pitts. Okay, so after watching the trailer for The Forest Through the Trees, this one looks like a little bit of a meh cult horror. I didn't really get much in the way of creeps and scares, and honestly, I felt even the tension fell just a little bit flat. As for gore, the trailer does show us like one good kind of stab wound through the hand, but even the way the shot is cut, it just felt very underwhelming. Now, the production for this one wasn't terrible, but I definitely felt like the movie kind of gave us that B vibe. And while that isn't inherently bad, I did think that the film just lacked a little bit of polish. And with that, I'm also not like a huge fan of kind of cult horrors to begin with. Like, I don't mind when there's like a cult leader or this kind of righteous motivation behind the madness. I just find that cult horrors often miss kind of that really disturbing note that I'm usually looking for. Now, hopefully this one surprises me because it did get a pretty decent rating on IMDb, even with a low amount of reviews. So for now, I think this one's going to get a lower spot on my watch list.
What's it been? 9, 10 months?
A year. Stayed here to help him. Her mom.
Kathy was the owner.
A small cabin in the Ozark Mountains. This cabin now belongs to you.
Looks like it hasn't been used in a long time.
What the hell was my mom into?
This talks about a ritual to summon Malthus, where he possesses a vessel.
It's almost midnight. I must prepare our special guest.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for me for another episode of brand new releases for you guys to watch and stream. I hope you enjoyed this content, and if you did find a couple of gems for your watch list, please leave me a like and subscribe. So if I had to make a couple of picks this week, the first movie I'm going to pick is The A-Frame, just because I liked the premise. I really did think that it looked like it had some really gory kind of body horror and transformations. I do like the kind of story angle where a mysterious piece of tech or machinery does weird things to somebody or changes them or makes them into different people. And with a couple of glimpses of body horror we got, like with these just massive mounds of flesh and grossness, it does look like it could hit a good gore element there. And so again, I really like these kind of sci-fi horrors, although we don't see a lot of them. So I hope this one is good and gory, and it's going to be my first pick of the week. And for my second pick of the week, I think I'm going to go with Stalker. Not only is it a good found footage, which I do like, but it looks like it's got some good creepy kind of paranormal activity moments where you almost have this person almost possessed and just doing weird things in their sleep and in the middle of the night. And some of the found footage stuff, it just looks like it could have some really good jump scares and tension. So from a purely scary standpoint, I think the film looks good. And so looking at this movie with my fingers crossed, I am going to hope that we get a really good kind of The Fly kind of grossness out of this one. And it is going to be my second pick of the week. Well, guys, I'm out of here for real this time, as I have got a ton of movies to watch. If you made it this far into the video, thank you. I appreciate you. I hope you like how the set's coming along. You know, I still need a little bit of kind of a woman's touch. My girl's going to come in here and we're going to kind of decorate it together. She just has good ideas for staging and stuff like that. But I think what we've got so far is actually looking pretty good. I think the shot's looking good. A couple more tweaks and improvements, but we definitely are looking good. So I hope the rest of you guys have been taking care of yourselves. I am going to get back to the puppy, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
A very good thing.